Hey everybody, this is Plastic Commando coming to you today from deep behind enemy lines. So this is video number 5. This is the Anzac custom miniatures, and you see I've got them in my protective case, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at these bad boys. Alright, first up I'd like to start with the infantry. And one of the first things when I wanted to start doing the customizations, in particular for Anzac, is I wanted to get rid of those Axis and Allies Neanderthal sculpts. And if you played, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, they're head, a couple of heads high above, especially the Japanese and some of the others. They were the newer sculpts that Axis and Allies Global had put into play when they brought in Anzac, but they look cool, but they were just way too tall for the existing out-of-box infantry. So the first thing I wanted to do is chuck those, and so I went with Historical Board Gaming's 3D sculpts, which look outstanding. We've got infantry poses, we've got militia poses, and I'm presenting these on Axis and Allies Global 40 map. However, again, like in other videos, as I've stated, I'm making miniatures, custom miniatures for not only just Axis and Allies games, but Global War 36 as well. So you'll see a variety of different miniatures, and again, just so you know, these aren't all directly related just to the map that they're being presented on. So the infantry, again, these are from Historical Board Gaming. I really like these poses. I think these turned out great. Really had fun doing these. I typically have fun doing most of the customizations, but this is my first customization for, you know, I guess a minor power, but simply because there were just way more miniatures than I've done so far. So really had fun doing this many, and in particular when we get to the Navy. But I'll try to zoom in just a tad bit better here. You'll see how these turned out. The paint schemes, they'll all be up in the description if anyone's interested in the paints that I used, colors and so forth. The decals, which I've got on the stands, these are the Anzac decals. Obviously, they're from Combat Miniatures, and so I tried to keep a theme of color with all of the pieces that I'm using, you know, in one way or another. And we'll take a look at here at the militia. See if we can get a better zoom. There we go. And after the painting process was completed, I used my typical weathering technique of Army Painter soft tone shade. I brushed on the dip out of the can, and of course I've made other videos on how to do that. I'm not going to spend any time really talking about that, but we've got a shade tint, just enough to kind of, you know, make it weathered. And then of course we sealed everything with Army Painter matte varnish. And again, yeah, just really like how these turned out. I got just the right amount of shade and detail. So really happy with these. And again, for purposes of Global War 36, I'm not using any particular cavalry sculpts. Not not well. Anyway, we not particularly happy with some of the sculpts I've seen, but I've got HBG's cavalry marker, which can certainly be used in terms of having to use a cavalry sculpt. And so there we go. This is the infantry and militia, and we'll move on to the next one. All right, up next, I've got 3 commanders that I have painted up for Anzac, and these of course would be used if you're playing Global 36, and the commander's addition to the game, or you just with simply house rules. But these got 3 of these guys in the event we use them. And again, my approach at doing these custom miniatures is making more than probably I'll use, but nevertheless, depending upon the type of game I'm playing, or if I lose a piece or two, then I always have an extra. So these are the commanders, and just kind of do a flip around. They're all basically the same. Kind of a modeled after Patton, really, the way they look, but they can serve with any Allied army. Okay, and then next we got the special service units. I like to call these guys the Attack Force Z, primarily from the cult classic Attack Force Z movie starring Mel Gibson when he was a young fella. And it's a great movie if you guys haven't seen it, by the way, Attack Force Z. But this is I'm going to use these guys as commandos, special operations. HBG has, I think there's 3 sculpts. I ended up purchasing, I've got 5, but mixed and matched. I got 3 of the Anzac commandos with the Thompson machine gun, and then I've got the 2 in the middle with the stocking cap and a knife, that they're going to sneak up behind the enemy. And of course we know what they're going to do with that knife. Very quick and silent. But anyway, I like these guys. These are a nice addition. I've got the commando markers that I'll be using from historical board gaming, and I do have this would actually go more towards the infantry. I've got some Royal Marines again for Global War 36. If we purchase a Marine unit, then I'll be using these markers. But these are some nice additions. On to the trucks and the mechanized units. So I decided on, as far as the trucks, motorized units, HBG Sculpt. This is actually, and I've just totally forgot the name of it, but it's either a British or Canadian truck. I think one of the sculpts they've got, but I like this one because it was a bit different. It's different than the one that I'll be using for United Kingdom and Far East Command as well. But I like this one again, because it's different and it was a little bit more simplified. So Anzac, Australia, World War II, they basically got a lot of equipment from the Allies, and so we're going to use this particular truck. Also, as we're getting into the trucks, tanks, and other units, you'll see I've got the Anzac decal on the bottoms. A lot of the units I'm using and the size, this is one of the smaller Anzac decals, but they just don't particularly fit on the vehicle itself. Nor does it really look that good if you put a big old decal on the side on some of these sculpts anyway. So all of my units either wheels, tanks, and so forth, are going to have these on the bottom. So, but this is a cool sculpt. I like it. I think they all turned out great. I painted the, got the detail with the windshield or the windscreen, depending on what part of the country or the world you're living in. I think it turned out pretty nice. And we've got a spare tire behind the cab of the truck as well. It's a bit visible. And so we got 10 of these. And then the mechanized units. This, I believe, and I probably should have got these wrote down again. I think these are the kangaroos. Don't hold me to that, but I'm pretty sure they are. And these are the sculpts I'll be using from HBG for my mechanized units. And I like these. I think these turned out really good. They're a lot more detailed than, obviously, the Axis and Allies out-of-box sculpts. And again, we've got them painted, weathered up, got that decal on the bottoms of each of those. Alrighty, on to the next. It's the tanks. Everybody loves a good tank. So I've got 3 different sculpts that I'll be using for Anzac. The first of which is the light tank, and these are the Stuarts from the United States, which actually they did use as part of a Lend-Lease in World War II. And these are plastics from HPG. I still think they're really detailed. And I've got quite a few of these that I'm using. I like these, and I mean, they're very durable. I just don't see a need to upgrading just for the sake of upgrading. And I've got a lot of these that I'll be working on for the United States as well, and some Allied powers. So I like these for a good light tank. And got those customized and shaded. And then over here we've got the medium tanks. Now these are 3D sculpts from Historical Board Gaming. This is the Sentinel. This was an actual Australian tank, I believe. And this is a nice sculpt, by the way. It's different, and that's kind of what I was going for. And I'm glad we got this sculpt. That's certainly a great addition for the Anzac. And yeah, it looks nice, very detailed. So we're happy with the medium tank, the Sentinel. It's actually a Judas Priest song as well. So I like that one. And then lastly, we've got the heavy tanks. And for purposes of a heavy tank, I'll be using the Churchill. And these are plastics from HPG. Been around for a while, but still look great for purposes of a heavy tank. And don't know that Anzac will make it to using a heavy tank, but of course if you're playing just straight up Axis and Allies, you can pick and choose your choice of tank. But in any event, these are the tanks. Okay, moving on to the artillery. And for my basic artillery, these are simply the out-of-box sculpts that came with the Anzac. I like these sculpts. They're wide. They're really nice. Again, I know you can get some 3D sculpts upgraded, but these are excellent for game purpose. And then up next, we've got the AAA artillery. Again, these are the same out-of-box sculpts that came with the game. And so yeah, those look good. I had a bit of patience trying to paint the actual tires on the guns, the gun platform, but we made it work. And then over here we've got self-propelled artillery, which I'll be using HPG sculpts. These are the plastics, the ones, excuse me, the ones that the U.S. used. I think these were the Priest. Seems to be a Judas Priest theme going in this video, which is very cool indeed. And get that to zoom in a little better. There we go. Got that detailed, weathered up. Got everything decaled on the bottom as well. So these will be the self-propelled units if Anzac has the money and they're so inclined to field one of these. So like how these all turned out. And then real quick, I've got one addition that I decided to throw in because I've got quite a few of these 3D V2 sculpts that I'd purchased over the years from Historical Board Gaming. And I've actually decided to use these sculpts for every power in terms of rocket technology, just to kind of keep the same type theme technology going on at the time. Just in the event Germany got their technology stolen, the Allies copied it. But you know, I just love this V2 sculpt. So had some extras. I was like, what the heck? We'll make up one for Anzac. Not sure it'll ever be used, but you never know. You never know. So I think that turned out pretty cool. All right, let's move on. Now we have the Airborne. I've got 6 different sculpts. Well, same sculpt, but 6 of each. These are Historical Board Gaming's Airborne paratroopers. And I just decided to use the basic sculpt. Got quite a few of these that I've collected over the years, so made some Airborne units up. And these are actually handy with some of the island hopping campaign in the Pacific. And pleased with these, how they turned out. Flip one of these around here. Fairly detailed. Not too bad to paint up. Just some of the details and the strapping that you see. Just need a very fine tip brush, and it's no problem at all. And then of course, if you make a little mistake, you can go back and touch up just a bit. But yeah, I like these. And then we got the transport planes. These are all U.S. sculpts, and I've got five of the planes that we've painted up, and really pleased how these turned out. Again, these are the plastic sculpts from Historical Board Gaming. Got those painted up in a camouflage pattern on the top, and on the bottoms. With all of my aircraft, I used of course I'll have the colors up in the top, but it's a blue-gray. Got it weathered there. You know, on camera it looks more just kind of like a gray, but it's a bluish gray. And I use that as the base color for all of the aircraft for Anzac. And pretty happy how these all turned out. And the decals that you see on the aircraft, as we move into the aircraft, these are all from I-95 Enterprises. These are the Australian roundels. So yeah, really happy how these turned out. Alrighty, so there's the Airborne. All right, moving on to the fighters. So over here on the left-hand side, I've got 2 USP-40 Warhawks. These are the 3D sculpts from Historical Board Gaming. These are really cool, very detailed. I like these, especially the nose section. That is it's just a really nice sculpt. Canopy as well. So I've got two of these, primarily for Lend-Lease and also just a bit of variety for Anzac. Anzac actually did use these in World War II, so I've got two for purposes of a Lend-Lease. And then in the middle, we've got the out-of-box fighters. I think this is the Boomerang, the Australian Boomerang fighter. And I liked using the out-of-box. I mean, they're nice, and turned out really well with the paint scheme. I went just with a brown camo over the base color, green, and I got these decaled up nice as well. And of course, on the bottoms, this one actually shows up a little better. It's that blue-gray. It's a nice sky color, and yeah, pretty happy how these turned out. We've got 10 of these, I believe, in total. And then over here for advanced warfare, I've got 3 jet aircraft. These are the P-80 jets, part of the U.S. build. These are all plastics from HPG, and these paint up really nice. Got them all decaled up again with the Australian Air Force roundels and markings, and got 3 of those just in case Anzac gets some jet technology. Yep. Those will be fun to use. All right, so that's the aircraft. All right, now we move on to the bombers, and up first is the tactical bomber. This is the Bristol Beaufort. These are the out-of-box sculpts that came with the game, Axis and Allies. Yeah, I just noticed earlier when I was putting these up, got a little wanky on my magnetizing on that one. Maybe he's making a maneuver from a Jap Zero that's following him, but in any event, I try to be particular with the straight in drilling, and I tell you, a pin vise is the best way to go, you know, when you're trying to put these magnets in. So, but yeah, I goofed up on that one, but it's all good. Adds a bit of variety. So on these, again, I went with just a brown overlay camo pattern, similar to the fighters. And I've decaled these up, depending upon the size of the decals as well as the placement. I was able to go a bit further with you know, some of the customizations. And I actually got this particular marking off the internet. One of the Australian Bristol Beaufort bombers actually had the B. I think that's actually it's a squadron. It's not B for Bristol or anything, but it's a squadron symbol. So I decaled quite a few up with the letter B, and when I ran out of B's, I went to K. So we've got a K on the back side, and I've got 2 of those actually. So got a couple different squadrons of the TAC bombers. I think these are okay sculpts. And then over here we've got the what will be used as a medium bomber. These are the PV-1s, I believe. These were actually, if I'm not mistaken, these were American aircraft in World War II. And got these painted up with a full camo pattern. pretty happy how these turned out. Again, these are the out-of-box sculpts, so they're not they're only so detailed, but I do like you know, it's a decent looking aircraft. You can add a decent amount of decals, so yeah, pretty nice. And again, we got that blue-gray underside. So we've got 6 of these as the out-of-box sculpts, and I like that tricolor camo. And then lastly, I've got a heavy bomber for Anzac. This is a 3D sculpt from Historical Board Gaming. This is British Lancaster heavy bomber, and you know, may never actually get this one fielded in Global 36, but you know, in Axis and Allies, again, you can use whatever bomber you like, I guess. But I got one of these. Again, I had a few extras, so I went ahead and painted this up, and I think it turned out nice. This is an excellent sculpt, by the way. I think Historical Board Gaming's got several variations of the Lancaster bomber, but I mean, if you were so inclined, it's even got, if you notice there, you got the tail gunner canopy. But I mean, you could really add a few more decals and make some official squadrons of these. So you know, just so you know, and those letters are from various I-95 Enterprise decals that I've got. So, but yeah, so pretty happy about the lone heavy bomber, and that's going to take care of the air power. So now to my favorite, it's off to the sea power. And lastly, the Navy. And man, did I have fun painting these sculpts up. This was my first Navy as far as doing custom miniatures so far. And I'll tell you, the out-of-box sculpts for the Anzac are pretty darn good in my opinion. Of course, this is the transport ship, and I've got all these weathered up, and again tried to keep that color scheme going I was talking about before. All of my naval units I've painted with a green bottom, same color as the infantry and you know, artillery, mechanized units and such. And I've got some blue tips, which is actually maybe hard to pick up, but it's a very similar color as the Anzac roundel, the outline. But again, these are all the out-of-box sculpts. Just love these, man. They just soaked up the weathering, and then after the matte varnish, they really blended in together, really nice. So pretty happy with the transports. And then we've got the submarines, and again, I love these sculpts. You know, again, when this game first came out, these sculpts were actually a lot more detailed than what we had. And of course, the weathering on here really makes them look like they've been at sea for a time. And again, just with some of the out-of-box detail, you know, there on the tower. You know, it's just overall, it's a nice looking sculpt. And again, I've got the Australian flag. Some of the decals from I-95 you'll probably see on the bottom are actually New Zealand flags. So it's kind of cool. I've got a mixture of Australian and New Zealand flags. So, yeah, these submarines are just awesome. They were awesome just purely out of box, but even more awesome now. So really like how these turned out. You can kind of see a hint of the green there at the tail. And And again, you know, if someone's playing and maybe new to the game, they're not really quite certain of the sculpt. Again, that's why I've got flags. You can just flip them over, and again, you know, it's ought to be fairly easy to differentiate. But yeah, these are nice. And then moving up here to the destroyers, again, all out of box. You can see a little bit more of the green on the bow of the ship, and you know, these are limited in detail, but with some color enhancements while painting. You know, adds to the flair of the detail. You actually get some detail that pops out that maybe goes unnoticed just with a straight out-of-box sculpt. You know, just a solid color. But pretty happy with the destroyers. And then actually I've got two of Historical Board Gaming's 3D sculpts, destroyers. And these are super detailed. You can see again some of the detail going on there in the middle. Got some of the you know, the life rafts as well. Kind of give a close up there. Yeah, these I really like Historical Board Gaming's Navy ships in, you know, in all the powers. I mean, they're just really nice sculpts. And then on these, of course, all of HBG's sculpts has a name. This is the Leander. I believe it was a British destroyer, obviously, again, used by the Allied powers. And so I got two of those. I've got more that I'll be using in the United Kingdom's Navy, but really like these. And then these are the out-of-box cruisers. And it looks like I actually forgot one. So we got the 4 cruisers that come without a box. Again, very similar. And now that I notice, we got 2 more transports. Never have enough transports. Again, those are, I think there's 8 that came out of box. But moving back over here to the cruisers, got 4 of those. And then we got the battleships. Again, a very unique out-of-box sculpt that came with Anzac. And it's turned out really good, I think. Again, the detail is not as powerful as maybe Historical Board Gaming sculpts, but very sufficient for the game. And of course, I got the got that green color scheme going. Got the Anzac roundel on the bottom. Got the flag on the top of the deck, and actually, see, that's the New Zealand flag right there. So I've got a mix and match of different ones. And obviously, you know, there's some liberty taken with Axis and Allies, even global. If you, Global 36, that is. I mean, if you get to making a lot of Navy, don't really know that Anzac, Australia, made use of battleships and aircraft carriers, but hey, it's a game. You just roll with it. But pretty happy how these turned out. Again, the weathering, really nice. And then lastly, we got the aircraft carriers, and these are the 4 that came out of box. Got those weathered up. And then I've got 4 escort carriers from Historical Board Gaming, and got the deck decals on there as well. Pretty happy how these turned out. And I actually added the numbers at the tops of the ships after I painted them up. Again, these are just I think, again, I-95 various numbers I've used to add a bit more detail. And again, we've got them marked with the Anzac roundel on the bottom, plus the Australian flags. And there's a New Zealand flag, yep. And again, just pretty happy how these turned out. I think these out-of-box carrier sculpts are really nice. So, well, that's going to do it. That is the Navy right there. And I'm going to bring, stay tuned, I'm going to bring all of these pieces together just for one last photo shot here at the end of this video. But appreciate you guys tuning in. And we're going to be working on number 6 coming up at some point. I've got quite a few pieces in that one, and of course the next video is going to be Russia. Russia will be next, and yeah, there's a lot of pieces that I'm working on at this time, so that'll be video number 6. And again, stay tuned. We're going to have just a real quick photo of all the pieces together. Appreciate you tuning in. This is the Plastic Commando, over and out.